Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Voice Notes Ministries. It's again your brother Zachi Samuel. We thank God for the testimonies of people who are touched, transformed, and revived by my foolishness that I have been sharing with you. This is the last day. Please bear with me. This is the last day I am sharing you of my foolishness. Let's take our reading in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 1. It reads as follows. Would to God ye bear with me a little in my folly, and indeed bear with me. Please bear with me with my foolishness. I beg you, my brother and sister, please bear with me. In 2008, I met a man of God. I got born again in 2007. In 2008, I met a man of God who was a mentor to me, who mentored me so closely, who groomed me and helped me to discover my gifts. He was a very good pastor to me. He groomed me. He made me to have confidence in my life, and he believed in me. But suddenly in 2009, when I was about to get married, there was a strife between me and him. He heard so many things from people in the church about me, which were lies. Instead of coming to me, he would stand in the pulpit and beat me and speak things against me. One time I got sick. Then he came to me and told me that you're gonna die. I'm gonna bury you. He was so angry at me. He was in a manner of hatred towards me suddenly. And the man I believed in, hence I don't have a father, I took him as my father. But how he bruised my heart. I tried to commit suicide 2 times. Because of that, because he was my all. He was my all. I started to develop bitterness. I started to hate everything that is called a pastor. And the sad part is that the more I grew bitter, the more I was losing peace. The more I was losing the purpose, the more I was losing the spiritual things. Number one, in bitterness does not apply. It comes. Bitterness does not ask for your permission. It just spontaneously pops out of your heart. I started to speak bad things about him. I started to speak bad even about other people because I was so bitter to listen to born again preachers. And listen very carefully. If you are a bitter person, you don't know that you are bitter, but you see yourself as a right person. Everyone is wrong. That's what happened in my life. Every person was wrong. I was the only one who was right in this world. And bitterness is always defensive, even to those who are going to help you. Because what happened to me, as people were trying to bring me closer, to comfort me, to help me, I was so defensive, I was so closing that no one entered my heart again. And instead of bearing the fruits of the Spirit, I was bearing the fruit of the flesh, developing hatred, jealousy, discouragement, and speaking evil things against each and every person who call himself a pastor. It took me, saints, 3 years, swamped in the power of bitterness. I got sick. When I got sick, that's when then the Lord gave me a counsel that you should forgive. And what I hated is that he never saw himself as a wrong person. I wanted him to come to me and say, I'm sorry. Sadly, he never came. But the Lord ministered to me and said, if you want me, or if you want me as your God, you must take out this man of God, which you are making your God today. Listen very carefully. Any person whom you think about on daily basis in your heart, any person whom you think about day and night, that person becomes your God. And the Bible says in the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 20, Romans, chapter 16, verse 20, 1 Corinthians, chapter 14, verse 33, God is the God of peace. The more you meditate about God, the more your life is filled with peace. I was full of regrets. I was so frowning. I was so complaining of one person. Other people ended up suffering because of one person, including those who loved me, including those who appreciate me, including those who believed in me. They suffered because of one person. For 3 years, 3 full years, complaining, always blaming. Let me tell you this. Bitterness will make you to lose the bigger picture of life and focus only on one hurt which is in your heart. My brother, my sister, the future is calling you. Come out of the bitterness life. Come out of the unforgiveness life. I know how painful it is. I know how to trust a person. Remember, do not trust a person more than God. That is what makes you. The measure of a trust you give to people is the measure of hurt you will receive. And the devil always uses one person to destroy others. What about those who care about you? What about those who believe in you? What about those who wish you good? What about those who are praying for you? What about those who are waiting for your gift? What about for those? What about? How can you continue thinking about a person who does not care about you, a person who does not even pray about you, a person who does not even imparting you anymore? That was the position I was in. And let me tell you, bitterness grows into witchcraft. If you don't deal with bitterness, you will end up being jealous of the people who are succeeding before you. And once you are jealous of them, witchcraft spirit will enter you. You will see yourself pulling down everyone, speaking bad about everyone. Everyone who succeeds before you will be your target. By the grace of God, the Lord had to intervene. I had to forgive him. I had to speak good about him. Remember, you cannot erase bitterness unless you develop love. In the book of 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 8 and the book of Proverbs chapter 10 verse 12, the Bible says love covers all sins. If you want to get rid of bitterness, develop love. You start to talk good about that person who hurt you. You start to remember the good moments, the happy moments together. You think less about those moments of your hurt, of your bruises. You think much about the love. The love. I started to develop love for him. I started to call him. He was so reluctant, not wanting to speak to me. I forced myself. I'm not saying force till you get hurt again, but I'm saying develop love. Even when I was about to be a pastor now formally, I went to him and then he said to me, let's forget the past and focus on the future. He started then to bless me. I am sharing this thing as my foolishness. Please receive my foolishness and get wisdom from my foolishness. I'm telling you, my brother, my sister, I see future in you. I see life in you. Get rid of bitterness and unforgiveness because God is going to use you mightily. Forgive me of my foolishness. God bless you.